Hello, nuts and nerds, and welcome back to A Squirrel Plays. Today I'm going to be giving you 3 whole adventure starter ideas so you can stop scratching your noodle and get to playing some games instead. Not only that, I'm going to give you some player character concepts too, because guess what? This video is sponsored by Blaze and his game Ishanekon World Shapers. He originally just wanted a small segment at the beginning of the video, but I made him a counter offer. I told him I had a video I've been wanting to do about some ideas for adventure starters and that I thought it would be fun if he made some player characters for each adventure to show off what his system could do. So that's what we're gonna do. But of course, these adventures are not limited to World Shapers. You can go play whatever game you want, just don't tell Blaze. And if you do want to try World Shapers out, you'll have some pre-mades ready to go with a handy dandy link in the description. Also, if you're unfamiliar with World Shapers, it is 100% free. It has super in-depth character creation tools to make pretty much whatever you want, but the actual gameplay is probably less crunchy than 5e. I have a full review right here if you'd like to learn more about it. But for this video, I'm going to be sharing some adventure starter ideas, so here's what I have in store. Part 1 is a sci-fi adventure chasing down a rogue AI creature. Part 2 is a Neolithic adventure with the likes of Unga and Bunga, and Part 3 will be a Watery adventure. So if you're struggling to come up with something for your group to play and do, here's hoping these will help get the brain cells moving. You know, funnily enough, the music squirrel was originally going to be my sponsorship squirrel, hence the money necklace. But I couldn't get any sponsorships and had to put him to work somewhere else. Anyway, we're actually going to start with an idea that I mentioned in the dragon video not long ago because I thought it was pretty cool. And that would be the rogue AI creature, meaning this will be a sci-fi setting. And in all honesty, it wouldn't have to be that far into the future because you could make this rogue AI something completely new that the world has never seen before. For our setting though, let's say AI is super common but also very heavily regulated. I did say this was fiction after all. AIs are also very specialized, meaning that an AI would be made solely for piloting ships, or another AI made solely for managing hotel bookings, so forth and so on. None of that general purpose stuff that we're trying to do now. However, somebody is designing a brand new AI that is able to grow and learn beyond what has been done before. The trick was starting the AI out young or with limited knowledge and connectivity to the outside world so it would grow and learn over time in a contained environment. The project is a secret due to the heavy regulation of AI, and this one, of course, breaks all of the rules. The players will get to be rogues, mercenaries, maybe some gang members, and other assorted types that tend to get in trouble for the right price. The players are told that the new AI has escaped the facility by taking over a robot's body and modifying itself. What the company doesn't tell the party is that the AI is somewhere between a small child and a scared animal mentally. They lead the party to believe it's like other AIs, but with the capability to do multiple types of functions as well as learn new ones, leaning into the idea that it might learn some more dangerous functions if not contained. Now, it's up to you whether you want this to take place in the underbelly of a massive city or go high up in some fancy towers or go outside somewhere. Me personally, I like the idea of having giant mega cities that go both up towards the sky and down into the ground. Somewhere along the timeline, people realized they were wiping out just a little too much of the world and learned how to consolidate and let the world grow and heal. Meaning the wilderness out here is now super untamed and dangerous, so despite it being the future with your fancy gadgets, you'll get to fight some more natural dangers such as bears, which can be pretty scary. Natural. Almost as natural as hitting that like and subscribe button. Look out. Either way you go, the twist would be finding the AI hiding somewhere. In a cave, an abandoned building, high up in a tower, totally up to you. But when you do find it, you quickly learn that it is, well, hiding. It's scared. It will also probably be scary looking due to it having cobbled together a body for itself from various robots and machines. I think it'd be fun to go the route of it not even being able to speak due to the machines it used for a body and letting you lean more into the mechanical creature side of it. Very limited understanding would be a fun approach too, meaning you could talk to it, but its understanding of things would be very childlike. Now the party has to decide what to do with it. Do they put it down and take the money? Do they question it and learn what the company was really doing? Do they adopt it as their own? Who knows? Now, for player characters, Blaze has cooked up a ragtag team of questionable individuals should you want to hop over into World Shapers. You have a minigun shielder who can rain a barrage of bullets down on the enemy as well as shield themselves or an ally. An ex-doctor who brings not only healing to the table, but can also craft and upgrade items as well as use the feature experimental medicine, allowing you to add elemental status effects to your healing. You also have a weapons smuggler with a grenade launcher and special grenade abilities like burning and dissolving grenades. And of course, the scoundrel with the ability to add an extra d4 to their skill checks, the chance to shoot between the eyes and ignore armor, as well as the use of lesser invisibility and thermal vision. Fancy. Okie dokie, this one is going to be a little bit silly, but one that I would also really like to try out at some point. This one goes way back to the Stone Age with the likes of Unga and Bunga. And here's the dealio. You're hanging out at your camp, and the tribe chief tells you the great stone bird has fallen. For you see, the great stone bird is something only the chief has seen. Some think he's crazy, and some think he's the chosen one. Whichever one it may be, you definitely heard a loud crash earlier that day, so you take your clubs and go investigate. Might even bring a dino or two, who knows. When you get there, it'll probably be pretty clear to the players that this whole great stone bird thing is actually an alien spaceship and it has indeed crashed. If you want, you could get here at the same time as a rival tribe and have a little dino battle or just caveman versus caveman. The good stuff is once you decide to venture into the spaceship. The ship will be intact for the most part, but there will be an open door on the side of it. Once the party goes in, of course, the door slips shut and locks them inside. So the goal shifts from, what is this, to how do we get out? And from here, it's basically a dungeon crawl, but with the silly twist of being cavemen inside an alien spaceship. Your traps could be automated turrets, part of the spaceship falling apart, alarms that confuse the heck out of the player characters, and of course, weird alien creatures that have escaped their cages. Most of the crew will be dead from the crash, but you could make things a little more interesting by keeping some of them alive and then seeing if the players could even tell the difference between the creatures and the crew. What I think would be the fun part is the player characters finding high-tech items and thinking they're magic. A laser pistol, for example. It might take a few shots to figure out how it works exactly, but once it's out of ammo, that's it. They most likely wouldn't be able to figure out how to reload it, leaving you with the option to create a bunch of disposable magical items. Lots of fun and silly shenanigans you could have there, and definitely a more lighthearted session. For the characters, we have what Blaze described as a full-on Unga Bunga barbarian with a club, and of course, that is absolutely the one I would choose. A hunter with a bow and a bit of a wild side, and also a shaman for heals, and then the last one has a little bit of a twist. The last character on this list is the first caveman that found the ship and had an alien device bound to him. Because of that, he receives all these fun-sounding abilities you see here. Unga Bunga gonna be tripping. Alright, so what about an adventure that involves some water? You don't really see much of those, do you? Or at least I don't, and probably for good reason. I don't feel like they're the easiest thing to make work because usually adventurers aren't built for being underwater, unless you're playing fish people or something like that. I'm going to proceed with a cyberpunk setting in mind for this one, but you could also do a steampunk setting and have a lot of fun there. I'm picking cyberpunk despite just having done a sci-fi one because I really like the idea of big corpos getting involved in this one. But nothing says you can't have a similar issue in your steampunk setting. I mean, come on, they both got punk in the name. It'll work, I promise. Anyway, let's say out in the big blue ocean, a mysterious city. Anyway, let's say out in the big blue ocean, a mysterious city suddenly rises to the surface. Nobody knows what it is or where it came from. Well, okay, it came from the bottom of the ocean, but you know what I mean. There seems to be nothing living there, or at least nobody trying to make contact. The city just sits there floating on the water. Once it becomes clear that nobody is in the city, big corpos start to swarm the city to try and take as much tech as they can. And that means they will probably be the majority of your combat encounters. You'll all be a bunch of hired goons for various corporations in competition with one another. The teams from the corporations could be different types as well, such as ones being very militarized, where other ones might be just teams of scientists and researchers. But that also means not every encounter has to go straight to combat. What if you could talk them into working with you and splitting the loot to bring back? Or you could be the bad guy and talk them into working together only to turn your back on them later. Or maybe they'll turn first, who knows? Since everybody's there for the same thing, I feel like it opens some interesting opportunities. Now, parts of the city can be under the water, and some rooms and areas could still be flooded due to some structural failures. This is how you'll squeeze in some underwater exploration and maybe a water monster or two. Since the city came all the way from the bottom of the ocean, you could have some really gnarly and weird things in there. But also, the GM could have a timer in the background they're keeping up with, and every so often part of the city will fail, resulting in it either sinking back down gradually or certain rooms taking on water. After a couple structural failures like this, the rest of the mercenary team start to get a little bit anxious, which may or may not make them more likely to work together or just make them more scared of every single thing in the city, hindering their ability to get out in one piece. And honestly, for this one, I don't think I'd even put a BBEG in it. I might try to make the win condition just bringing back a certain amount of tech stuff you find laying around. Maybe you could have them be worth different amounts, but hard for the players to determine what's worth more than the other. As for the city itself, you could sprinkle in bits of lore throughout to see if you could hook the party's interest. Maybe they'll become more interested in learning about the mysterious city than finding the loot. Or perhaps if they choose to understand the city more, they'll uncover the super secret mega loot. Lots of exploration and working with questionable individuals in this one. And speaking of questionable individuals, let's see what Blaze cooked up. A cyborg with another minigun and a blunt instrument of your choice. A weakness scanner soldier with the ability to reduce an enemy's evasion or their armor, or both. This guy also has a precision attack ability similar to the scoundrel earlier, but with some debuffs at their disposal. Another scientist, but this one is an offensive guy instead of the healer. He has abilities such as Elemental Bolt, Heat Eruption, Elemental Touch, and Illusion. And lastly, the hacker who can summon machines, throw shock grenades, and even just outright force certain enemy abilities to not work. And remember, these are just sneak peeks at the characters that I'm showing you here. They actually have more abilities and talents than I'm revealing. I mean, come on, I gotta tempt you into checking out the game somehow, don't I? And that's it, ladies and gents. Hopefully you got some inspiration out of this for some games of your own, or shoot, maybe even a short story or something to write. If it didn't spur the imagination any, then here's hoping it at least entertained you. And again, big shout out to Blaze from Ishanekon World Shapers for sponsoring this video. There is a link down in the description below for his website if you want to go check it out. And remember, it's totally free, plus you have a handful of characters to use now. I will also put a link in the description for my review of his game, which, by the way, I have played multiple times since I made that video. I even got to be a tiny little barbarian squirrel that climbed up on his enemies and chopped them to death with his axe. It was great. And if you don't have any friends to play with, I got more good news. You can always join Blaze's Discord and find some people to play with. Plus, Blaze does make the effort to run multiple sessions for his game so everybody can get to experience it. And with that, goodbye.